Hey there. Thanks for joining. Welcome to this new slow life. This newly retired city girl just making her way through building a pantry, and soon we'll be moving out into the garden, and sometimes we'll be looking at some stuff that I'm doing in my home. Today we are going to start with Dijon mustard. I have always been intrigued with that, and I'm trying to get rid of all my store-bought stuff and just take control of as much as I can. One of my goals is to get my arms around all of the things that we purchase. So I would love to make my own mustard, Dijon and yellow, because then I'll know the ingredients that go into it, and it just gives me control over what goes into our bodies, and I have time. So today we're going to work on that mustard. And my favorite thing, again, is to get all the ingredients out. It tells me if I have everything, if I need anything. And apparently making this mustard is kind of a 2-day process. We'll do part 1, and then we have to let it sit overnight and then do part 2. So we're doing the recipe from the Ball cookbook. And we need Pinot Grigio. We need mustard. I have ground and the seed, but we're just going to use the mustard seed for this recipe. Onions, garlic, turmeric, paprika. I got my jars. I'm doing it in these pretty little ones. I have my rings, my pickling salt, and I have my 5% acidity white vinegar. So, shall we start? I'm going to start by cutting the onions. Outer layer goes in my compost. Compost. This layer goes into this dish. And I need 2 cups. And I'll list the recipe below. So don't worry about that. I'm going to chop the onions. Favorite kitchen tool. Working on my garlic. And I have this for my pieces that will go in the freezer. And then when I get enough, it'll be dehydrated for garlic powder. That is one of my favorite things to do. It's so rewarding to think, oh, free. Yep, how much is that? Free. So we are working on 6 cloves of garlic, and it just needs to be coarsely chopped. Let's do it. 2 cups chopped onions, 2 cups Pinot Grigio, I had no idea wine was in making Dijon mustard. I started putting it in the wrong container. It needs to be in a pan on the stove. So we have our chopped onion, our Pinot Grigio, 1 cup of vinegar, teaspoon of salt. And I'm using canning and pickling salt. 6 cloves of garlic. 4 black peppercorns. Probably going to use more because that sounds good. And a sprig of rosemary that I got when I was on my walk today. So we are going to bring it to a boil. Reduce the heat. Simmer uncovered 15 to 20 minutes until the onion is soft. Okay, I threw it all in the pan. It came to a boil, and now it's going to simmer for 15 to 20 minutes, or until the onion is very soft, stirring occasionally. I got a phone call, and I forgot about it and came running downstairs, but it looks okay. It looks just fine, so we'll simmer this for 20 minutes. And I even thought about, on my walk in the city, how fun it would be to see what kind of herbs and things I could gather along the way. Now, I'm not going to gather anything that's on a busy street because I always think of exhaust and just not good stuff, dogs. So it'd be kind of fun to see all the things that I could forage in the city, which might be kind of cool. And then we're going to remove the pan from the heat, and we're going to strain the solution, compost the solid stuff, and then we're going to add the mustard seeds, and that's when it's going to do its magic. Well, we are doing magic in the kitchen today, feeling in control of what goes in our body and taking over with our improved budget in the kitchen. All I know is I kept track of everything I spent in the month of February. I was blown away. Just shopping my pantry has been the ticket. And tonight we're having rice, Mexican rice, which I made and froze, pinto beans, which I made in my Sunday prep, and sweet potato. And I'm going to put my kale powder in it and my homemade enchilada sauce over it all. And we're having some burritos. While we're waiting for our concoction, our Dijon mustard concoction to cook down, I am kind of trying to clean up, and I wanted to just remind you, buy your pepper in a larger container, and then you can put it in your spice grinder and put it in your pepper bowls or pepper containers. This is $20, and to buy a little guy is $8 roughly. So it's going to last you a good long time. And then I have my garlic. That's going to go, I just pulled this out of the freezer. It's going to go in my bag here. So eventually we'll dehydrate it. Also in my bag, my freezer bag, I have red onions. I have 2 packs of red onions, and I'm going to separate them. I don't know why. If I make it for myself, I don't care if the red and the yellow onions are mixed. I separate my onions because when they are dehydrated, these guys look really beautiful and like the kind you get in a store. And these guys look red, which isn't something we're used to. It's mostly if I gave it as a gift. For me, I mix them. I don't care. But I want to have that choice. So these guys are finished, and they're going to hang out in my freezer. I also told you earlier that we're not using the ground mustard, but we actually are. The recipe calls for both the ground mustard and the ground mustard and the mustard seed, turmeric, and paprika. And now we're being asked to put in 1 cup of yellow mustard seeds. One-third cup of dry mustard. So we're mixing it all in this bowl. And then this is going to sit here for 24 hours or even no longer than 48 hours. We're going to let it sit, and then we're going to check back in tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to add the water. And our goal is to get it to an oatmeal consistency. So hang on, we'll get this figured out together. It is 24 hours since I last saw you, and the mustard has been sitting. It is so dry. When I got up this morning, it was parched. So I put on my kettle and I added more water to it and covered it, and it sat for the day. Right now it's a little bit more moist, but when I've watched videos, I've noticed that mine is lacking in moisture. But I hope I can make up for it, because we have 2 2/3 cup of water to add, and we're not supposed to dump it all in. The instructions say to add it slowly until we can get it the consistency of oatmeal. So here it is. We're going to add our water, and I know I'm going to need plenty. Also, when this goes into a pan to heat up before we put it in the jars, it will lose even more of its liquid. So I don't care if I'm going just a little over oatmeal. This is going to yield me, I don't know, I'm thinking like four of the little jars. And I think that's worth it. This does not take a lot of time. The time comes in the waiting 24 hours. So it's Friday night here, and yes, this is what I want to be doing on a Friday night. And this called for 2 cups of Pinot Grigio. So this is what the chef gets, the balance, right? We're going to put it in our pan. Hot jars right here. I'm using a small ladle because it seems like I might have more control over that. Looks really pretty. Oh, I was going to say paper towel and vinegar, but no, debubble. Oh yeah, I've heard some people say it doesn't look like you need to debubble. Yeah, you do. That makes a difference. I can tell when I do it. When I canned with my grandma, we did not debubble. Get that lid nice and tight. A non-sealed jar is such an epic failure. And I lean into the Ball lids because Ball does not do me wrong. Fingertip tight. How pretty. I think this will be good for us. Probably take a year and a half to get through this. Yay, 4. I'm going to get 4, and then I'm going to have a jar for my refrigerator. The jars are in, 4, and we will not start the timer until it is moving in a rolling boil. I have my tray ready. I always pick a nice tray with one of my favorite towels. I got a little tiny bit of this that will go in the fridge. Look at such a cute jar. Just pulled the jars out, and those have to sit 5 minutes. Our cooling period is up, and the recipe calls for 2 cups of Pinot Grigio. And just so that you know in the future, the balance of the bottle is 2 glasses of wine left over. So maybe canning on a Friday night is the ticket. So we will pull out our jars that we have worked so hard on, and we are building our pantry, and we know every ingredient in this. When I looked at the Dijon recipe, it said additional spices. It's still incredibly vague. We know here what we're putting in our body, and that is why I'm building my pantry. I have my beloved label maker, and I'm printing out 5 labels, which I trim down so they fit beautifully on the lid. And they're going to go in my pantry. I'm going to add it to my very cool inventory list, which always makes me feel like I'm very productive. So there you have it. Dijon mustard. How lucky, how beautiful. We're creating our own food. We don't need to go to the store. Not you and me. We got this. Ciao for now.